KFUG Community Radio. It is, oh, hey, look at that. It is 11 o'clock straight up. Just Paul with you. Community Service, the show. Joined live in the studio, Supervisor Lori Cowan. We were just talking about things we could talk about. Is it tricky being a politician this time of year? Do you have to kind of mind what you say more than other times of year? I know anything you say can be seen as an endorsement or a damning sort of thing. So is that a concern?
I certainly think about that when I'm talking about things. I have found myself over the years staying quiet more often than not. There will be people who will argue with that, but if you knew me from the past, I definitely am much quieter.
Like
than
relatively,
I was.
This is relatively quiet, Lori Cowan.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
I believe in what I believe in. You called me because of my coastal voices, and that's what I believe. You know, I'm watching what's going on, and I have always said that what is best for California is not best for Del Norte County.
That typically works out that way a lot.
And I start noticing that when I ran for supervisor, and I see it more and more as a county supervisor. I see what comes down the pike, and it doesn't always work for us. One size does not fit all in California.
No, exactly. Case in point, I mean, I can see, like we're talking about things that have really big impacts. And your coastal voices was basically vote Del Norte.
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to party line or larger philosophical, what will impact our lives here? So let's start with Prop 6. Right now, this has been a big deal with the Board of Supervisors for, what, a month and a half now, 2 months? I was gone for a while.
And it's not a big deal to me. It is a no-brainer for me. Prop 6 is not, if we were to vote yes on that, that is not good for Del Norte County. Del Norte County has already received over $300,000 this year and will receive ongoing over $900,000 yearly. So that's almost $1 million specifically to Del Norte County roads. I hear about it all the time. When are you going to fix the roads? Why is there potholes? Why does it look so crappy? What about this? Here is an opportunity for our roads department to have a lot of money come in and take care of these problems. And that's just Del Norte County. It also affects our transportation department, Redwood Coast Transit, the city of Crescent City, Caltrans. Everybody will be affected by this.
Folks have said that there was a lot of, sky is falling rhetoric after the votes, the confusing votes that happened in the Board of Supervisors there a couple of weeks. With who was it? Was it Jared who came and was saying, who was in the paper talking about
McGuire?
Jared, it wasn't Jared. It was Mike, right? Yeah, and I always want to say Mark McGuire, different guy.
No, it was Mike.
And is that true? Will the funding moving forward, at least right now in the immediate future, will that go away if Prop 6 passes for last chance grade?
Oh, for last chance grade.
Sorry, yeah.
Well, yeah. So with last chance grade, it's been a conversation for 20, 30 years. You'll hear people talk about it all the time. Oh, we've been talking about it, nothing's ever happened, blah, 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 blah. But what people don't realize is in the last 2 years, there's been actual money that has gone to last chance grade and looking at an alternate route. There's always been money going to last chance grade to fix it, to band-aid it for 20, 30 years. But now, 17, 18, and 18, 19, we've had funds specifically for trying to find another route. That is thanks to some of it, thanks to McGuire, to everybody here locally pushing, but we're actually looking at alternate routes. If Caltrans loses SB1 funding, yes, they will not have money so freely to go to new projects. They will go back into their fix and emergency state funds.
Yeah, just patching things that need immediate attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, taxes haven't been raised since 94. So the state is operating on money that was okay in 94, but now fast forward to 2018, that same amount of money coming in does not help the problems we have today. And that's why our infrastructure is the way it is. So I think it will affect us. Will it stop the project completely? No, I think it'll still be in their minds. I think they'll still, talk about it, and eventually down the road, there'll be money for it somehow, some way. But for us right now on this momentum, we had the $5 million come in May of 2017, and then we got another $5 million in March of 2018 this year that is going through geotechnical studies and going to beginning of environmentals, and we need to go back to the state in the quarter of next year and ask for the remaining funds, which can be upwards of $70 million. And they're going to just say no because it's not there.
Yeah.
And so, yes, indirectly it affects us, and I'm not willing to take that vote. Let's go a step further. One of the parties is out there saying Prop 6 is dangerous, or it was a tax put on us that we didn't vote for, and I agree, and I get that. But it's a tax we've been paying for a while. And the one thing that really irks me is that the big talk of that is that it's costing $800 more a year. You keep seeing that. So I personally went, okay, I've got 4 drivers and 5 cars.
Yikes.
I'm going to have a 5th driver soon.
I don't want to see your insurance bill.
Yeah. So I'm like, all I can relate to is what does it cost me, right? Everybody's different. This is, is it costing me really $800 a year? And, I've heard that. I've heard, it's $800 for a party of 8 or party of 4, family of 4.
But 800 being just in increased registration fees?
Registration and gas.
Oh, and gas. So that includes the, okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, let's figure this out. I drive a lot. I drive way above the average. And I don't know what the average is in Del Norte County. I really don't. I believe the state average is about $14,000 a year.
Okay.
I'm guessing. That's what it was a long time ago. But I'm just going to go off of me. 22,000 miles a year. I only get 20 miles to the gallon.
Oh, yikes.
Okay. So and then it's an extra 12 cents a gallon. That's only $132 a year.
Okay.
Now, so that's 100 for me.
For one vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is the one that drives the most.
Okay.
And then you add an extra $50 a year on registration. So the registration fees are based on the
value.
The
right?
value
Yeah.
of the car. I bought a new car. It's a used car. I paid $13,000 for it. So it's an extra $50. Okay. That's only $182 a year. To some, that may be a lot. I'm not saying that's an easy bite for me, but I'm willing to pay an extra $182 a year to have safe roads, safe bridges in Del Norte County, and to know that there's going to be funding for last chance grade. I'm willing to do that. Take that $182 and times it by 4, because I've heard different things. It still doesn't hit $800, and I can guarantee you the other 3 drivers in my car are spending half as much.
Yeah.
I just paid his registration. It only went up $22.
Yeah, I think mine is like $20.
So it's not a big hit, and I'm not saying it's a big deal. And to some people, a hit's a hit, and I get that.
Yeah, but you have to value it. You have to measure it out. It's
the value to me is safe roads. That's a huge value to me, especially when my kids are driving on them. So Prop 6, I can't agree with it at all. Yeah. Absolutely. And it was an issue. I think a couple of supervisors, I can't talk for them, but when you're looking at it and you're running businesses that are taking gas and using the roads, your first thought is it's not a good thing, but then you got to look at the other side of it. And reality is it is a good thing.
Okay. Well, local ballot initiatives that we have here. B and C, correct? Are those where we do? Yeah, all right. So I forget which is which. B is
cannabis.
Okay, the cannabis. Now, finally, this is something that just in the nick of time, basically. If it's going to be a new tax, it has to be on the ballot, and the working group comes up with this. It's out there. What's your stance on that?
It's needed. So let's be clear. Cannabis is here to stay. The Board of Supervisors have a ban only to get through the ordinances. We have gotten the personal use done. We did the tax, which is going to be on the measure, and then we're working on retail right now, and then we'll go into cultivation and manufacturing. Our intent of the board is to eventually all ban will be lifted.
That's a tricky thing to say, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I'm saying that because last week I get a phone call and Supervisor Gitlin saying that vote no on B, so cannabis will go away. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've seen Jesse post about that. That's not what happens.
That's not how it works.
We won't get any money from it.
Yes. So B is to be able to bring funds into the county to help with code enforcement, public safety. And there's a really important part to this, too. It'll help our tax collector be able to go after I want to say illegal grows, but Jesse
off
doesn't like that term.
Off the tax roll?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say there's an illegal grow that's not permitted. Our tax collector can, lien on properties and be able to go after them that way. It's got some teeth.
Okay.
Without it, we don't have that. So what happens? Now all of a sudden, you have cannabis in a county, and we don't have the funds to regulate it. So I think that's a worse choice.
Is there any fear there that there will be because correct me if I'm mistaken, if things have changed, if we don't have something on the books by the first of the year, then it's basically banned permanently?
Well, the ban's there. No,
the ban. I thought there was something about or no, medical goes away at the first of
what
the year, right?
happens is, the lines blur with the state.
Yeah.
And they've tried to kind of bring medical and recreational together, and they're, it's gotten a little tricky. What happens primarily is we do have a retailer in our community. What happens is the co-ops go away.
Okay.
The co-op model goes away. So we do have somebody who went and got a state license that will expire in December. But
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
all. That's why we're trying to, get it all kind of out so that it doesn't affect them.
And so this ordinance that we're voting on, the tax that we're voting on, then this was the product of the working group, right? This is how it was supposed to work, or was there?
Yeah, I mean, they came back. I remember me personally saying, I want to tax it 10 to 20%, and
I think in Oregon it's much higher than just what the 3 to 6% that's on the ballot.
Well, what you have is they're already taxed 25% by California. The
state, just right off the top. Okay,
right off the top.
Okay.
So
we're talking about our
now
Delmar's
our county is going to put on top of it.
Gotcha.
So and we watched what other people did, and there was some counties going very high, and it didn't work. So I think once the conversation started around that, and we looked at all the pros and cons, that's where we came between a 2 and a 6.
Okay. All right.
Because it has to be something, but we also don't want to be at 45% or 50%.
Yeah, and
because
so
we do
close
have
to
to consider
Oregon.
what the state's already doing. Yeah.
So Measure C then for the tot tax increase. I don't understand why this is a deal. Why are people against this?
I don't either. I love the signs. No on C, bad for Del Norte.
How?
So let me explain it, because I think a lot of people just don't understand it. I hope that's what it is. I think some people are just no taxes. Just no taxes. And you can't change that mindset. I have always been a proponent of raising our TOT. We are only at 8%. The city's at 10. Okay. I travel a lot. I ask anybody who travels, the next time you go to a hotel, look at your TOT.
I thought about it.
You just got back. How many did you look at?
No, I didn't. I kept forgetting. I remember thinking that I should check out what the TOTs are, and then I was on vacation.
12, 14, 15,
Okay.
I've seen. It goes up. It's much higher than 8, I can tell you that. And we all pay it when we leave here. So why aren't we charging the people who come in here? We're not paying that tax, folks. If we live here, unless you're going to a hotel, if you live here, you're in your own home. You're not getting a hotel. It's the people who travel. It's the tourism that we're doing, and we're trying to help raise. That's the person who is paying that tax, and it makes sense. It makes sense to raise it. I know it was tried to be raised a few years back, right after I got here, and it failed. Now they've taken it on to help save the harbor, which again, I think it's important. I mean, we're all a community. We can't separate ourselves. I know we're city, county, harbor, but we're one county. We're Del Norte County.
Yeah.
So we need to look at what's best for Del Norte County. To lose that harbor, would that be best? No. Not when we're trying to raise tourism and get people up here. We have a beautiful harbor.
That was one of the criticisms. I don't want to put words in Sam's mouth, but these words came right out of Sam Straight's mouth here. That the harbor kind of doesn't deserve to survive because it's been so poorly run, and that the people coming in could spend that 2% in just local businesses. Then they'd spend that whatever that would be. You figure $100 a night for a room, right? So you're talking about
they're going to spend it anyway about it.
Yeah.
They're not going to go into a restaurant and say, "I'm going to spend 2% last because I got I'm going to figure that out." They're going to be hungry and they're going to go into the restaurant and eat, and they're going to go to Ocean World or wherever it may be. I don't think that's going to curve it. It certainly doesn't curve me. I don't look at my TOT on my receipt. You just said it yourself. You didn't even pay attention when you were going. You have to pay it. Everybody does. So why not charge the people here?
Yeah. No, I was more interested in is there coffee in the room? That's what I was interested in. The
Right. I was in a hotel last week. No coffee machine.
We've across the country, we've dropped the ball coffee-wise in hotel rooms. It's like, what?
It's important.
Yeah, we actually we bought a French press. We went to Walmart and bought a French press. We're just making our own. Take that. I'm going to deduct that off of the receipt then. I made my own coffee. Okay, so do you have thoughts on this? We've got two city council seats up and 3 people running for them.
I don't know much about Isaiah Wright or Tony. I don't even know the guy's last name. Blake has been amazing. I've worked with Blake Enscore for the past 2 years. I completely support that man and everything he does.
Yeah.
He has Del Norte County in his best interest. Absolutely, 100%. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Dave Blake.
Okay, I know it's. Did you do the early voting thing?
No, I am one of those who
Yeah, me
loves
too.
to go to the polls.
Yeah.
Somebody gave me a funny look about that yesterday. I'm like, that's what it's all about. I put on my red, white, and blue flag sweater that I've had. I hate to say this, but I've had it for over 30 years.
Wow.
I love it.
Uh-huh. Is it your voting sweater?
It is. I
specific?
wear it on Labor Day, usually Veterans, 4th of July. But I put it on to vote. And that's something my husband and I always do together. I don't vote with anybody else except my daughter went with us one year. And it's just something about going to the polls. I don't want to mail it in. I want to go to the polls.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my right. It's my right. So.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. I don't do it now because I've moved, but I really liked last place I lived. I had to go vote at the Vets Hall, and that was just walking into the Vets Hall and there's flags hanging there. Yeah, it was. Really
I go
cool.
to the airport.
You go to the
I go to the airport. But it's neat. And my kids, talking about my daughter, they're a voting age. So let's go back to the Coastal Voices. I think this is one thing, and my son's 15, and we were having a conversation about C and explaining to it. But I think the conversations I've had with my children really made me write that. It's not about party. I don't ask them. I probably couldn't even tell you what my kids are registered as, honestly, because we don't talk about party. I could probably guess them, but
You know
we don't.
them,
I
yeah.
don't ask them. We talk about what's best for where you live. We have to understand and what your vote means, what the consequences are. On 6, it means if we lose that, if it passes, we lose $1 million a year. And a county like Del Norte, as small as it is, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And, just the choices, whether it's for the president or it's for a local race with the city council, what does that mean to Del Norte County? What is that person going to do? I was at a lunch yesterday and somebody was talking about that, and we got talking about Senator McGuire. That man has been amazing to Del Norte County. I don't care about his political party, and someone says, well, you can't vote for him. I said, yes, I can. That man has done more for this county in 2 years than anybody previously that I've
Has he only been in office 2 years?
Well, no, longer. I shouldn't say. I've only worked with him for 2 years.
Okay,
4 years. I'm
two
sorry,
years.
4 years. I did say 2 years because I have been working personally with him for 2 years. But yes, 4 years. He's up for re-election.
And he's up here all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was teasing me the other day about texting him so much. I do. If I have a question, I text him, or I text his, his
awesome.
counterpart or somebody. But he's accessible. He's very accessible, and he knows our concerns. He knows what our issues are. And I would vote for him every day of the week. I don't care what party is. Who is going to do best for Del Norte County? What are our issues? What matters to us? And who's going to help us get there?
I think his background coming from real, local elected community school board stuff
School
like that.
board,
He knows how it feels, when
to be the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah. Oh man. So where are the girls? Where are your girls nowadays? Are they far afield in California?
Sarah is in Australia.
Okay.
Well, I take that back. She landed in Bali this morning. So
Oh my
she's
God.
my marine biology major at UC Santa Barbara, but she was blessed to go to University of Queensland in Australia.
Wow.
She got there in August. She turned in her last paper 2 days ago. She has to leave the country for a week,
Right,
to come
yeah.
back. So she just landed in Bali with a group, and they're going to dive for a couple of weeks.
Oh my God.
And she'll come home or back to Brisbane, and my son worked all summer and bought his own ticket, and he's meeting his sister in Brisbane.
Really?
On the 17th.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
They will spend 2 weeks. They'll do that. They'll do Cairns. They'll go to Sydney to see a friend of ours, and then they'll fly home together.
That's amazing.
I know. They both are. Yeah, all my kids are amazing. I can't say enough. But so she's in Australia or
Did she
Indonesia.
mail it? Did she mail in ballot?
I didn't ask her. I know the other two. Christine's at Chico, doing really well, really enjoying it. She wants to be an elementary school teacher.
Oh, wonderful.
And will she come back? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where she lands. But doing well. And then my foster son is here, of course, and I have 2 beautiful grandchildren from him.
That's right.
So we just did Halloween together.
Oh, wow.
And everybody's doing great. I can't complain. Oh, shout out to Delnort High School varsity soccer team. The boys are on a bus heading to San Francisco. They made it to NCS finals. They did last year too, and last year was the first time in 25 years, I think. So this is second year running. So they're on their way. Good luck tomorrow, boys. They're just having a great season.
I've been out of the loop. I didn't know that they'd had such a great season like that. That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun.
So they're excited. So.
Oh man, yeah, I'd like those afternoons. Both my girls played soccer at Del Norte for. Avi did it for like 1 year, but Maddie did it I think for like 3, and it was a lot of fun.
Will Maddie come home for Christmas or?
She is, and she's upset about it. She doesn't want to. Because it's $1,000 to fly home. I was getting this when we were all back there, and she has got no place to stay back there. She's got like to fill a month, right?
Yeah.
And
they get kicked out. It's like see ya.
Yeah, exactly. Booted out. She did stay there all summer, which was disconcerting. I didn't enjoy that. She did come home for about 2 weeks in August, but she has to come home for a month.
Yeah, it happens that way, Paul. They come home less
really?
and less.
Nobody
less
told me
less.
this.
So was it enjoyable to be back there with her?
Wonderful,
see her in her element.
Oh yeah. Meet the girl she lives with, and this I think it's a high-rise apartment. They're like 8 stories up in Providence, and it was beautiful. We walked around. She was so busy every day. We got together like late in the afternoon for dinner and like hanging out in the evenings because just working and all these different projects that are part of what her studies are. It was amazing, and I always knew she'd succeed. But I think she's benefited by the fact that her boyfriend is out of the country for this semester, so so she's been very focused.
That's good.
yeah, it was good. I hope she's able to continue that in the
And
spring.
Avi's still here, right?
Actually. Is killing it at CR. Just got an award from the California Endowment for community activism.
Yes.
An incredible person. Avi is just wonderful. And I always knew, it was kind of funny. We talked about this, that I always knew that if there were more Avis in the world would be a better place. I wasn't really convinced that if there were more Maddies in the world would be a better place, because Maddie and I have that same kind of anger. And I think that gets in the way. We're not as selfless and community motivated as like Avi is. So they're really they're hitting it out of the park. I'm really proud of both of them.
It's kind of a different part of their lives, and it's I'm sure you feel the same way I do. It's just I miss them. I miss being little, but I really embrace them in adulthood.
Oh yeah.
To see what they've become and watch them and the challenges and how they tackle it. I mean, to see Sarah just thriving in another country and doing just unbelievable things and no fear. Little frustration here and there, but no fear. And my kids are doing things that I never even thought of when I was growing up. I grew up in, the youngest and the only girl in a middle class family, and, you're not going to go to college, and you're not going to do this, and you're going to, it was just different. And I tell my kids, travel. They were in, where did they go this summer? Thailand.
Oh, wow.
They did 2 weeks volunteers on some islands in Thailand.
Wow. Volunteering what?
Just they taught English and they did permaculture.
Oh, wow.
At a school,
excellent.
yes, because the kids have to come so far to go to school that they live there during the week, and so they got to have the gardens and the stuff to feed themselves, and then they go home on the weekends, and so they did that, and it's amazing.
It gives lots of hope for the future,
right?
Yeah, exactly, Because they have. I don't know. Looking from the outside, being an older person looking at them, I don't see limits. With their lives. No. Just as you were talking about the limits that we grew up in things, no, it's unlimited, and there's all kind, and it's good because it also seems like there's all kinds of work needs to be done.
There does.
Yeah.
So get out and vote on Tuesday. It's important. Our local election is extremely important.
That's what are you afraid of? Afraid of just us being maybe, if we don't vote for these things, I mean, we could really sort of circle the wagons up here and kind of I don't know. It seems.
we'll go on. We always
Yeah.
go on. It's just making adjustments. It's living with other things that, or living without things that our life would be better if we had them.
And that are attainable.
Yeah. I'm here. I wake up every day and there isn't a day that goes by that some part of that day is not thinking about Delaware County. I mean, that's my job. And whether it's a half hour a day or a straight 8 hours, I'm thinking about Delaware County. So, and I'm thinking about how do I make it better for my kids? How do I make it better for my grandkids? So here we have opportunities to bring in money for our roads, bring in money for our harbor, bring in money for public safety. To me, those are no-brainers.
Yeah.
And that's making our community better. So I think if everybody's always just thinking about making our community better as a whole and not just thinking about themselves, you got to get outside of yourself. You got to look at the county as a whole. And I think if everybody does that, we'll be fine. And if they don't and things change, we'll adjust. But
Yeah.
we'll have to do without.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't want to do without. I don't want my kids to do without, and I don't want my grandkids to do without. And I think that's the bottom line. That's what it comes down to.
Okay, last question. Any thoughts about 2020? You going to do this again? Anything you want to declare on the air right now, Lori? Don't. It's okay. You
I
don't
have loved the last 2 years. I really have. It was a rough start. I have learned that I need to stay focused on what's important to me and to what's best for our county. I learned to take all that other stuff and it's just white noise and put it out of my mind. That's helped me a lot this second year. I don't think I'm going to be done doing what I need to do or what I want to do. So yeah, I'm looking forward to moving forward. Yeah,
Right on.
absolutely.
Right on. Excellent. That's good to hear. That's good to hear because
Yeah.
I have seen you sort of hit your stride and it feels like, okay.
I'm going, okay, I
All
got
right.
this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I got this. It took me a little bit, but I got this. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you very much for coming in and sharing your thoughts on these issues and vote Del Norte. And especially if you haven't done that fancy pre-voting everybody seems to be doing now, get out to the polls on Tuesday. There's a lot at stake locally and elsewhere.
Yes.
Lori Cowan, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you, Paul.